I'm already thinking in my mind about the future, of course, because I guess this is the end of this SK lineup, so I don't know what will happen after that, but yeah, hopefully I can get a new team, and that's the main part of my mind. Of course, we're in relegation now, so I'm thinking about that too, but the main part is I'm doing it for myself right now.
Welcome back to the European LCS. Our next matchup has SK going up against Elements as they chase a seat in the summer playoffs. And well, Freddy there, quite a depressing piece of video there of him, but honestly, for me, it tells of a lot of honesty from him, realizing the spot you're in.
Yeah, very rare that you'll hear just quite such a frank and honest kind of look at, even with games still left to play for SK, just of the future outlook for a player.
Yeah, so let's look at what SK has done so far in these last 2 days. They, of course, had to get a win in any of their last 4 games. Yesterday, they didn't versus Fnatic, but I think that they showed quite a lot of confidence in their draft, even though they got tossed the curveball with the Trundle support, but they ended up with the Maokai, Gragas, Jace, Lulu, Corki, which is a solid lineup.
Yeah, it's a solid lineup and it shows confidence, but I think it's just very predictable by SK, quite frankly. And honestly, I feel like Fnatic went into that game saying, yeah, we know you're going to pick tanks, we'll just pick the Trundle, we'll deal with that. I know Dalo was tweeting earlier about how good Trundle is into tanks. We talked about it yesterday as well. So just Fnatic read SK like a book, and it's what we expected pretty much from that game.
Yeah, it definitely is. And well, on one side, very good for SK Gaming that Copenhagen Wolves didn't manage to win, because at least they don't have to think about that. Now, how do you think, with hearing that feature from Freddy, how do you think that will influence their mindset going into this game?
Yeah, that was depressing. Like, I'm Finnish, and that got me sad. So it must. But yeah, if the mood is like that in the team, it's really hard to see like them performing at their best, because I know, for example, I'm the kind of player, like, if the mood in the team is really bad, then I get like, yeah, screw this, you know, like, I don't even want to do my best anymore. So it depends on them, just like how the players react to that kind of bad mood.
Yeah, we'll see how it translates into game versus Elements. Elements currently 7 and 10, and well, they do have something to lose, or something to gain rather, as they can still make it into the playoffs. But honestly, yesterday they were up against Gambit Gaming. They won, but I even almost forgot about it, because it turned out to be such a long game where they gave up all the advantages they had built up earlier on.
They did. I don't know how you could quite nearly forget about that game, because that game was monumental, record-breaking on the length of it. But honestly, Elements, I think, thinking of forgetting things, they forgot how to push a lead at any point. They had inhibitors down against a team with a substitute, with a very high damage mid lane carry just from Froggen on the Cogmore there. And you know, Froggen just in general in that game was 2 sides of the coin. He had so much damage, 1,070 damage per minute in that game, but he kept getting caught overall, and just so many deaths almost needlessly to the Cogmore.
Yeah, I think Froggen just made that game unnecessarily hard. Like, Kawachar did a really great job once again, TPing in with those home guards, always catching Froggen like every single time. And them having no cleanse on the Froggen. Sometimes he's dying with the flash up, and he didn't have any MR, no Michaels, and just like no counterplay to that, and it ended up costing them like 30 minutes of the game.
Yeah, let's see if they manage to pull out a win here versus SK Gaming in a little bit of a faster manner. Everything is set on stage, so let's head over to the caster desk for picks and bans.
Thank you very much, Shucks, and the rest of the analyst desk. As we load up into Champ Select, let's quickly run down the rosters for the last regularly scheduled game. It is SK on the blue side with Freddy, Svenskeren, Fox, Candy Panda, N-Rated, and Lucas Schenker. And of course, for Elements on the red side, Elements still fighting for playoff spots. JWoww, Dexter, Froggen, Tabs, Nif, and Martin Moonson. Can't say that right, but I will try. As you've said already, Elements currently, their record is 7 and 10.
Yep.
Picked up a victory yesterday. It was a victory. And
that's what it said on the post-game screen.
But what it means is they are still in with the shot. With Gambit now 7 and 11, Elements could sneak into playoffs in the final hour.
Definitely had a rough middle of the split here. Elements just couldn't quite get it right, but there's been at least progression last few weeks. Not as a roster as a whole, but I really feel that Dexter has been playing very well, and so has Froggen. Froggen has stepped up massively. People would argue whether he's stepping up or just being the consistent old self, but Elements and Froggen are working better together. We saw him roam on Varus, pick up a couple of kills in a game against the Copenhagen Wolves, I believe, and just overall, yeah, he still is that fantastic player in the mid lane, and against this shaky SK Gaming that now no longer has to play for anything because they're they dodge the auto relegation spot down in the bottom of the table, they might play with a little more freedom. At the same time, might not play with as much of conviction either.
The last time SK said they were playing without weight on their shoulders, they played fantastically. Candy Panda talked about it after the match 2 weeks ago. He said how well and how easy it is to play. They are definitely in the promotion tournament. They're definitely in 9th place. We round out the bands with Twisted Fate, Cogmore, and Rise, targeted towards Elements. Elements reply with Nidalee, Shen, and Sivir. So Kalista is up and available.
I think it's good to not ban Kalista against SK Gaming because they haven't really shown that they really want that champion. They value Corki over it. See if Tabs wants to play it. I still like Tristana into Corki. Still like Kalista into Corki. I really think you should probably pick her up if you can patch up what you lack in those champions, which is, of course, you know, control in the mid lane, but or wave clear. But Froggen's champion pool right now consists out of all those champions that offer that anyway, so could be good to see that happen.
Varus is available, but
Too
not
early.
something that's picked this early.
Froggen really likes counter picking on purple side for the right reasons. Obviously, he can just straight up win that matchup in the mid lane against Fox if he gets the counter pick, or at least amass a very big CS lead.
So most of the pressure in bans has been on the mid lane. A couple of junglers taken out. Well, there goes our theory. Varus is locked in this early.
I could be wrong. Don't mind being wrong.
Not a why, but
So let's see what they hold their last pick for.
The other
Then
side-
it has to almost be JWoww because jungle's been locked in. You could do part of bot lane because yesterday we saw Nif step up for the first time in the last few weeks that he's actually took control of the early game. His roams were essential at getting elements ahead, and he even touched on that in the post-game interview. He even got first spot, I believe, on that thresh, so fantastic roaming from him. And elements, they can still build into anything with this composition. Worst case, you can even rotate the Varus bot as AD carry.
not unheard of,
Technically a flex pick.
but is a little unlikely, I guess.
Yeah, given it how good Froggen is on Varus.
And for Svenskeren, he is most likely going to lock in this Gragas. It is his most played champion.
I wanna-
5 games this split.
I want to see him play in Italy here instead. I really don't like the Gragas. Oh, it's banned, of course. That's why. Fantastic choice, this Gragas. I was testing you, Trevor.
Oh yeah, Tom Kench was banned.
yesterday.
It was banned. It is locked in. Patch 5.13. The frog is here for Freddy.
And yeah, this technically speaking, is a flex pick for support, but it is. I have barely seen it in solo queue. I've been playing a lot more games recently, and Tom Kench support, the few times I saw it was absolutely horrible. And perhaps it was the players, you know, perhaps it was just a matchup, but they didn't look that great. On the top lane, however, it's just a nuisance. Continuous, annoying type of champion, and that is perfect for Freddy's playstyle.
I also like the fact that they could deliver somebody directly behind Varus. We'll see on how effectively Freddy or Enrated can use that Abyssal Voyage. We'll break down some of the mechanics of Tom Kench in-game. For Elements, they now have to deal with the interesting first ever River King in Summer LCS. JWoww's going to lock in that Rumble, not going to go for the last counter pick. Instead, potentially moving Varus to Tabs and getting Frog in a mid laner, realistically finding an AD carry that Tabs wants to play.
Yeah, definitely wanna piece that puzzle together by getting an AD carry. I don't think Frog is going to switch over. However, they will still have information for the later pick. Fox is still locked into a matchup here. Irelia mid is available, which some people like running into poke. Obviously, Freddy has been playing at champion time capture a lot in solo queue. That's how we saw it banned yesterday against him. Just want to see how it plays out. How much experience does JWoww have as well? Because with these new champions, they might not be as great as one would expect. The thing is, you will always have a leg up because you just put in 10, 15, 20 games on this champion, and you're playing against people that have experience on their champions against everything that is metagame, but they're not really ready for the cheese.
Stress had a fantastic line when we were talking about Tom Kench this week and how part of the reason Freddy is spamming it is to test the limits of every matchup. Rumble is a very common top lane pick in solo queue, so you know Freddy's going to have some experience in that. You'd like to think JWoww's run into him, but we don't know for sure. Nautilus now locked in for N-rated. Again, could go top. Freddy has also run Nautilus before. We're not expecting it. Fox is going to get his hands on Irelia, and it could be a last pick Kalista. That's not something you hear or see every day.
Yep.
It
Kalista
is.
makes it down all the way to the bottom. Kalista, Alistar, very, very good laning phase, very good defense, good offense, especially into the melee support like Nautilus. So a lot of bully potential here. Well rounded out composition, has some wave clear, has some engage. Good secondary engage from the Equalizer. Very, very... I would almost call this pre-poke meta composition from Elements, a little older.
Okay.
Barring maybe the Varus in the middle lane, but you can replace that with anything else. And then those picks were the top tier picks coming into the summer split, obviously. And Freddy's, he's happy. And we'll just have to see how he plays that Tahm Kench, you know, how he uses that acquired taste. That's the passive of Tahm Kench. If you stack that up, then your abilities change around and just do different things all the time. Is he going to stun people, you know, with that tongue lash? Is he going to swallow his teammates' enemies? What is he going to do? What will he bring to the table? We don't know.
I also want to see just how many hit points he gets from his E. That thick skin converts your HP. We know he's going to build tanky. He's top lane.
Yep.
Tahm Kench, the River King. In the summer split, SK Gaming are locked into the promotion tournament. There's no way for them to avoid that. They are playing with no pressure on their shoulders. Elements could play 7th again for the second split in a row, could go to promotion tournament, or they could win this, probably make playoffs. Will the River King pick up his first win? Hashtag SK win. Or hashtag L win if you believe in Froggen and the boys.
Crowd is ready. Hate to disappoint it. It is very likely that it'll be incredibly boring lane up top.
Oh, no, don't tell me that.
Because it's just a slow champion whittling away. Look at him go. Get that Tahm Kench booty. He does put his hips into it. Hips don't lie. But the matchup I prefer to watch is the one in the mid lane, Aurelia into Varus. I think that's always very interesting to see how these players approach it, how much aggression they're willing to make, and you know how Froggen will play around that. He obviously brings Cleanse to the table to get out of Equilibrium Strike, but also get rid of the Ignite. Defensive Summoner, very good on poke champions. And then yeah, how well have Tabs and Nif play together? How well is their synergy developed now that they're playing a lane with so much outplay potential?
We will find out shortly as Candy Panda's going to connect a little fast bomb onto Tabs. And of course, how does Freddy play the split push? Because Freddy, the top laner, is somebody that likes to sit alone in a lane. He likes to push it out, has been known to be very greedy for farm, give up kills. And the ultimate on that Abyssal Voidage does not have the greatest of ranges. So he'll need to position appropriately and correctly if he wants to make an effective sort of flank or engage.
But Freddy's style holistically as a top laner, not as a Tahm Kench top laner, just the reason that worked for SK Gaming so often in the past is because not only was he doing that, everybody else was doing that. And if all your lanes are pushing beyond what is naturally the safe limit, that means if people overextend, just like they did against Cabochard last game against Gambit, you know, you send multiple people top to deal with that aggressive pusher, then at the other side of the map, you can take advantage, so you can take towers. SK wants those triple pushing lanes, however now they did a very hard time getting tower damage in the mid lane. Let's see if they're used to playing with a different style here. Both bot laners taking a camp. That passive is obviously fantastic on the Grom, 12% every time 2 hits come out. You can see a lot of action level 1 from this bot lane.
Tabs and Nif want to get their advantage early. We'll track that. There's this top lane action that we're not expecting too much to go from. Frey's going to be able to sustain any harass that Unexpected puts down. And then Rated and Candy going to try this
Good
race to
Riptide.
level 2. It looks like Elements have backed away. They've conceded the battle.
Almost have to concede that Riptide was placed out of like counter trade range, but then procs on all the minions and then combined with Phosphorus Bomb, you can't deal with it. The lane kind of over pushed to an extent, so Elements won't lose too much. They'll just have to farm very well on their tower. Putting the heat on Fox. He doesn't have any minion to jump to right now. He's going to look at that range grip right there, but then he would dash into a full minion wave, so Fox can stay there again, so he's safe within his minions.
Exit plan minion was not in place. For Fox, went for Flash Ignite. Let's see if that's going to help him out. 2 Ignites on the side of SK.
Sven's in base, but Dexter stayed well sustained here. Looking to early gank. No ward for Freddy. This could be a summoner blown immediately in the game already.
Tunnel, 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 tunnel. Tunnel, tunnel, tunnel! Flash.
Yep.
Well,
Good correct play on both sides.
so Freddy, Summoner Spell down on a low mobility top laner. If that wave pushes out at all, a little difficult.
1 out of the last 4 CS, I believe. So yeah, he got the splash, but keep farming though. Freddy will get ahead of you in the 1v1. Satisfying though, the last of the cannon creep with Tahm Kench.
JWoww on that rumble. 3 games this split. got himself 2 wins and a loss. Dexter's just going to show his face in the battle. Actually going to get stunned by Fox. Trying to make the most efficient route to his blue buff possible. Small detour.
It is some pressure though. Take some mana away from DRL in the mid lane. SK posturing for a potential invade. They saw Dexter top.
Did they get the buff? I don't think that they did.
No, the buff is still up, obviously. They saw Dexter top without blue buff, so they know the buff is still alive. Just a little wary about the invade. JWoww did make his way down there for potential counterplay.
Stun from Fox, trading auto attacks, and Froggen will reply in kind. Both mid laners with those crystalline flasks. So
now is this buff going to go to Froggen, or is Svenskeren going to try and steal it? This could be a big change here. If Froggen walks over to snipe it, obviously Svenskeren. What over?
Out of range. Dexter is able to pull the buff into the bush. And no theft from Sven. But Sven, despite his lanes not being super pushed, he's got enough freedom thanks from mid to go for that small attempted steal.
Yeah, pressure from Fox now on Froggen, and Froggen's next blue buff will only spawn at 9:45, so he'll be behind in that poke war. He is safe under his tower though. At this point, Fox can't dash in for counter trades. He's so close to the tower, so Froggen very comfortable in that position. His flask is still ticking. Bot lane seems very passive, so I guess we're back to watching time Kench. Let's see what Freddy is maxing here. Going for the traditional Q max because he wants to poke in lane. That tongue lash over and over and over. Facilitate last hits.
We just caught a glimpse there of that devour and regurgitate. That's the option to pick up a minion and
there's Sven in the bot lane.
Lob it. Kalista Tab's gonna flash away. Summon a spell blown just from Sven showing his face.
Not, I think they could have killed Tabs. He just flashed. Body slam flash, ignite. Okay, perhaps I'm wrong. Passive approach from SK Gaming. Want to hold on to their summoners.
The option was there, but opted not to go for it. Lynx might pick up for Dexter, as opposed to skirmishing. Fox out of mana, but here comes Sven. Flash and cleanse still up for Froggen. Sven chases. Find himself. Alright, Dexter, and Dexter's going to clear that ward out instantly.
Do ping out Dexter on the map, so everybody's aware of each other's positions right here. See if Dexter goes for a counter. He saw how low Fox was, but he gets spotted by the River Ghost, or the Wolf Ghost rather. He doesn't want to go in anymore, so mid-game or early game rather, neutralized completely. 0-0 on the board. Gold is even. Want to wait for these power spikes in terms of levels. Level 6 Kalista obviously allows your Alistar to play a lot more aggressively. In addition to that Unbreakable Will, that's get out of fail free card. You have another one, which is the Fate's Call. You can play dumb aggression almost.
And of course, with Candid and Rated getting to that early level 2, they have a CS advantage. Nif gonna go for a slightly aggressive trade, and Rated actually pulls him in with that dredge line. The wave is slowly pushing back towards Elements, so we'll be able to make up some of that CS shortly.
Now, in this season of League of Legends, bot lanes have yet to be really aggressive because there's always double teleport threat available. And that's why aggression has slowed down. Fox is obviously looking to dash into a minion here, might get counter gang.
He's got all the way in. Sheen is up. Very early cleanse from Froggen. Fox is in trouble. 250 hit points. The chomp comes down from Dexter. They're forced to get away. Fox stays alive.
And that's the difference between Varus on level 6 or 9. Later on, as he gets that CDR, gets more levels on that Q, the second arrow will come out sooner, and then Fox would have died. It's very interesting that he actually managed to survive that even without the exit minion. We very so often talk about aggression from SK bot, mid, and top. Playing into their traditional style almost.
Not the greatest of CSing in the tower. The bonus damage from that Sentinel for Nif, difficult to enact when he's melee.
This bot lane has been almost untouched, barring Svenskeren peeking in one time, and Tabs with his last pick, Kalista, is now down 11 CS in this lane, so his pick is obviously not paying off. If you counterpick your bot lane, you rotate your entire draft around counterpicking the AD carry, you should be up in CS. So it's not like Kalista scales that much better than Corki into the mid game anyway, so interesting.
Of course, for this top lane matchup, still small lead for Freddy, continuing to max that tongue lash on his Q. We've not seen too much trading actually from either JWoww.
Yeah, but JWoww is happy farming this out, obviously. It's hard to imagine that there will be a champion with more team fight utility than a Rumble on that time, Kench. So you get to see it. Here's teleport down below though.
JWoww.
And his Valkyrie should still be up.
He's going to come in behind. Equalizer comes down at a slightly awkward angle. Candy's made it out alive. And Rated is going to be the focus. JWoww's flash to get in for the slow and the assist. And Rated goes down.
Yeah, unrated flashes, throws out the dredge line, just doesn't connect with the wall. He must have moved it. Sneaky, sneaky map editors. Just a pixel to the left, just to screw them. A bit of a misplay, he gets down, but at the same time, Candy Panda still survives and can pick up that wave on the tower. For teleport, I'm not even sure if it's worth it, honestly. They get a kill. First blood on Kalista still is very good. And Dexter's picking up the farm on top lane. That does make it worth it in the end. Elements are not losing resources as a team, unless they get counterplayed on the top lane right now.
Slightly deep ward there from Svenskeren. Entry to the jungle. Fox has already begun to roam. There's no flash, there's no teleport. And Dexter's already used his tunnel. Freddy, 2 procs of an acquired taste. Could nom down on Dexter, but...
SK is so hesitant. They could have definitely went for that play. They could have went for that dive. There's no equalizer live on JWoww. We have explosive cast from Svenskeren. No flash on JWoww.
If wants to defend this pink ward. Get rid of Candy Panda. And he goes right back to the river with some extra support.
Very unusual hesitation on the top side from SK. They had 3 members there. They had Aurelia, Gragas, Tam Kench. You can definitely dive a Rumble Rek'Sai with that lineup.
Can reset tower aggro by eating a teammate.
Yeah.
Do it, Freddy. Eat somebody. Svenskeren's coming in. Round 2. JWoww's already started to back away though. And unfortunately, no aggression up top.
JWoww doesn't have flash. Communication, SK. You could have went for that play. You could have killed him. You should have been dead twice already.
Gotta pull the trigger. Blue buff number 2 has spawned for Elements. It was delayed from that jungle pressure much earlier in the game, and Froggen will be donated. He's got that tier stacking up as well as 2 long swords, and knowing that Candy Panda's not in lane and assuming Freddy's teleported, Elements are going to go for what looks like a very safe dragon.
Teleports are even. They're just going to stand there and watch the dragon die. Makes me worried for Elements though as a team that, yes, they are 300 gold or 200 gold ahead right now and a dragon, but they could have been punished so much harder, and SK isn't showing it to them, really. JWoww could have been dead twice already right now and got on a small lead on that top lane. So going into the potential playoffs they are playing for, that could be a worrisome
Crepo,
topic.
last time these teams met was a 55 win. And yesterday, Elements showed that they like to play safe. So I think SK is returning the sentiment, erring on the side of caution, allowing Freddy to get beefy enough to tank anything and everything.
We are looking at the epitome of mid-game spikes, double Triforce, on your mid lane, on your Corki in the bot lane as well. So if both of them hit that spike and group up, that damage potential goes through the roof. Froggen will still be kind of scaling up at that point. Kalista will obviously be a strong duelist. Elements going up for a group vision approach right now. This is good. We have really not seen that too much from them. Looks like Invader is ready to defend.
Dredge line connects under Dexter. He's going to be able to tunnel away, and goes the depth charge. Gonna move in. Nef is in trouble. Gets a 2-man knock-up. Chain of Corruption will stop SK from aggressing the barrel!
Knocks back Dexter too.
Nef. Dexter's now in trouble. Fox gonna look for the blade switch. Candy's here as well. Dredge line connects again. SK. They finally stop being reserved and get themselves 2 kills.
That was an insane Gragas ultimate by Svenskeren. I'm almost wondering if he planned that. I feel like he was trying to finish Nif off, and then he was like, oh, I got an additional, buy one, get one free type of champion deal. And they're laughing about it. SK
Massive smile.
Pick up 2 kills. They're fantastic cast from Svenskeren. Can't stress that enough. And yeah, Nif, he has Unbreakable, but there's Ignite, plus Aurelia damage from 2 damage that goes straight through that ultimate, so he can still melt in these fights.
Yes, he did. 0-1-1. Get a little caught out. He's got those Moby boots. Trying to look for some plays. SK have accelerated their lead thanks to the kills and some strong CSing. Small advantage for Freddy.
Yeah, he's
small advantage for Candy.
Just under the 10 CS a minute. We're seeing about 9 right now. 115 in 13 minutes. Doing pretty well on the Tam Kench. I wonder when he goes for that, my people need me type of ultimate. Shows up in a bit like surprise. Just want to see it.
I really want to see that Abyssal Voyage. I actually want to see him deliver Fox behind Froggen. That's what I'd like to see. For anybody that hasn't played Tam Kench, of course, he's going to have a pretty decent range. I think rank 1 is around about Twisted Fate, rank 1 ultimate.
Might see some aggression in the middle here. Svenskeren setting up. We have Fox that can always dash to a minion.
Fox has gone in at very low HP, relying on the regen from those Transcendent Blades. Fox forced to flash defensively, and Sven's going to get chunked out. Piercing arrow connects as well.
Svenska in another good defensive explosive cast this time. Trading on the bot lane too. Looks like Nif and Tabs are tired of just playing back.
We'll have to see if they can pick themselves up some kills. That CS lead is shrinking somewhat, but of course Candy's getting closer to his Triforce spike as well. Here comes Dexter. Giving up a death this game. Gonna get spotted out by a ward, which instantly clears thanks to the sweeper. And this could be just for some tower pressure.
Candy Panda's running low on mana. If we extend this siege into 1 or 2 more waves, he's gonna be out of wave clear, and then Tabs, Dexter, and Nif could pressure, set up a dive. With Unbreakable and Fate's Call, you can dive for
Ever.
10 tower shots almost. Let's see what Svenskeren does in reply. He's made some right moves. Froggen's cleanse is down right now, so Body Slam Flash is live on Svenskeren. No explosive cast, but if Fox can connect that stun, that's enough. You know, Equilibrium Strike, stunning, followed Body Slam Flash engage. Froggen could drop.
And we did see that Fox was going for that traditional Max E, Max W, Tom Kench, Freddy, maxing Devour, his W after Tongue Lash. So we'll see how that works out.
How well is Elements doing in the synchronized base department?
Tabs is gone. Nifs is in trouble. He does have that Unbreakable. He may need it. Throws it down, but you cannot run away from that mine. Nif cancels his back and will give up a kill to Candy Panda eventually.
Yeah, lack of communication there, honestly. Tabs is like, guys, we can finish. Nif is like, no, fight. And he gets left behind. They could have won that trade incredibly easy because there's not enough damage on Candy Panda because of how low he was on that mana. Tabs prioritize base over support.
Every time we look up the top, Freddy is taking poke, but that gray health from his E's just allowing him to regen. And look at the CS, 30 CS advantage.
This is a typical top lane battle where you have a slightly favorable matchup against a player or a champion that does better in teamfights. You just slowly whittle away. Neither of these champions will ever all in each other. So unless a jungle shows up, not much is going to happen. JWoww's Flash has come back online. Svenskeren is posturing again, but he seems like he shows up and then thinks better of the dive every time. There we go.
That! Devour, regurgitate. Freddy's looking for a kill. Here comes us to support. The body slam flash and the frog and the fat man get themselves a kill.
I feel like they could have done that with 2 people though. They leave their mid lane exposed. Froggen takes down that tower. In top lane, good combo. This could have happened so much earlier though. But it looked.
I'm so glad it didn't because that was awesome to watch.
Really awesome. It was actually good job from Svenskeren waiting though. He waited until Rumble was silencing himself by overheating, and then obviously he can't flash out of that cask.
We did just see the tower secured as well. So all 3 kills that Svenskeren has secured. Been phenomenal with that explosive cast play. Elements, they open up the mid lane, even a smite. Sven secures his own red buff. Now Dexter.
Nif has no ulti yet. He's gonna get chunked here.
For a fight, Nif is in trouble, does have flash. A few seconds before that Unbreakable will be available. Fate's Call is up, that's a double TP. Here comes Freddy. He's gonna get knocked up by Fate's Call. Dexter's pulled backwards by Dredgeline. JWoww throws out the equalizer. It's not the greatest defensive peel from Elements. Nobody goes down in the exchange.
Just a lot of flashes burned. Look on the right side of your map. Dragon is live. The only member remaining on Elements with flash right now is Tabs on Philistine.
Big minion wave pushing towards Elements up top. Abyssal Voyage. Will Freddy be using it? Most likely not. Nobody that he wants to deliver is around. Dragon number 2 secured despite Elements losing gold over the last few minutes.
Kind of phenomenal that SK managed to get 2,000 gold ahead right here. Some good plays. Svenskeren definitely is the man to watch. Let's see if somebody of Elements is going to face check here. JWoww gets caught out a little bit. Wards in time.
Run, run, run! That has to be one of the funniest animations.
What did it do is like, Svenskeren, let me carry you, buddy. Those 5 steps you were about to take, let me take them forward. It's like, we need a Tom Kench, Frodo, and Samwise skin combination. Let me carry you, Frodo. I can't carry the ring, I will carry you.
On a more serious note, that Devour does a lot of damage. Rank 4 at the moment. And if he can nom enemy champions, 29% of their maximum health as magic damage. That hurts.
It's the counter to Tom Kench, you don't build health. Not really though, because then you die.
And we do
Yeah,
see
it will
the
be
build.
interesting to see if we can actually get there in teamfights. Yes, everything looks nice on paper, but Tahm Kench getting to a carry, you have to remember, if a traditional top laner can get this close to a carry, which is the range of Devour, say it's an Irelia or something else, it will just straight up kill the carry. Instead, Tahm Kench will eat it and deal 1/3 of his health in maximum magic damage. So, you know, it looks nice on paper. We have to see how it plays out in reality.
I'm sure we'll find out because the Trinity Force spikes have been picked up thanks to the kills that SK have secured. Fox, we know, has gone to the split pushing role once he's been enabled. And we know that there is half map pressure from Freddy's Tahm Kench. He can bring with him some support if he wants to. On the other side, Elements have also hit some big item spikes. Blade picked up a few minutes ago for Tabs. Froggen, oh, he's in trouble. Equilibrium Strike comes out. Ignite is burning. Froggen will be going down, but the Equalizer might pick up Fox. Flame Splitter plus the tower will trade 1 for 1. Defensive explosive cast from Svenskeren, and there's no teleport for Freddy up top. Chilling Smite is going to slow Sven. Elements continuing to chase. Look at the map. Down bottom, Candy is shoving out. He will get a tower, and SK come out ahead in the trade.
Yeah, Fox goes in, yes, it's a trade kill, but it requires more members of Elements to deal with that. This obviously opens up the bot lane. Good secure by Candy Panda. SK is now 2 towers to 1. Is moving around, trying to get some deep vision right here.
Oh, that's not the place you want to be. Candy Panda gets caught up. Fate's Call comes backwards. Nif goes forwards. And Rater's the man that gets knocked up. He's going to put a lot of damage down. He might be able to kill Tabs. Tabs, summon a heal. Will be able to sustain with that Blade of the Rune King. A flash? Minions not going to be able to pick it up. Tabs, that got a little messy and a little close. Candy Panda took far too long to get back into range.
Candy Panda didn't want to linger around, walked in the end, and saw just how close Tabs came to dying. Again, miscommunication. Both these bot lanes are not on the same page in terms of where their enemies are, what they want to do, how they want to play out these matchups. We've seen it before when it was Candy Panda playing Kalista, and he kept pulling back and Raider whenever Raider wanted to go in. Same thing right now for Elements right here.
Okay, WoW is the next target. Transcendent Blades. Overheating. Going to get that scrap heap shield. Continuing to run. Fox is not slowed. And JWoww gets away. So close.
And Freddy woggle to the mid. I'm Kev has to be one of the funniest champions out there.
Missed the tongue punch.
Oh, you have though.
2,500 hit points with that Sunfire and Spectre's Cowl. That's a front line if ever I've seen one. Gonna have the support of Enrated as Svenskeren set up at the Raptors.
So Fox has now become the split pusher on the top lane. Obviously has great duel potential. Svenskeren set up around these Raptors. Look at the wards above Svenskeren as well. Elements have no control of their top side red jungle.
Hey.
Now they do. One ward. They spot out Svenskeren. However, I still don't see what he's doing. He could be lurking around for the dive, or he could be moving top to dive JWoww. They have no information whatsoever. They're pressuring in the mid lane, pressuring in the bot lane. This is the way SK like playing.
They've been enabled. Got themselves a decent gold lead. Freddy doesn't connect with the tongue lash. Dexter's decided he wants to get some Fogwa. Freddy forced to flash defensively and Enrated will get rendered, but he will survive. Nobody goes down.
Yeah, failed combo from Nif allows Enrated to escape there. Obviously, Element spot out that Svenskeren could be moved to the top lane. This leaves 4 members against 3 in the mid lane. Easy engage, but Element messed it up mechanically. Game stays even.
Elements continue to play from behind. Lost control of their jungle, which is allowing SK the freedom to make these setups in middle and pressure top.
And you can't afford to make these mistakes if you're already fighting for vision. We see right there. Dexter has to use his sweeper and his oracle buffs to get even into the first brush into his jungle. At that point, if you get an opening, you get an engage somewhere, you have to make it work, you have to make it stick. Because otherwise, Fox is going to continue to pressure top. If you just beat out JWoww, especially once those harpoons go on cooldown, no more defensive tools.
With the fact that Fox has been moving between lanes and looking to set up fights, he is falling further behind in CS. Yesterday, Froggen was farming up a storm. Today, Froggen is farming up a storm. 50 advantage over his opponent. But that same difference is between Freddy and JWoww. So interesting dynamic.
So yeah,
there's different carries have different farm priorities.
Freddy making up for his early game split push, you know, offensive tools with that Sunfire Cave. Wants to get more wave to, you know, don't get stuck too slow, like too long and make it too slow of a champion on Tahm Kench. That's why you go for Sunfire. Then of course Spirit Visage, fantastic on Tahm Kench for regeneration when you get that gray health back for you.
Dragon number 3 has spawned. Elements have secured the previous 2 uncontested.
They win 5v5. Remember that. They have the better 5v5 composition because Fox is a skirmisher, duelist. Freddy is Tom Kench.
Freddy is hungry.
And JWoww is obviously Rumble, who thrives around these Baron fights. How well can Elements use their zone control? Froggen's ultimate will be crucial as well. Just lock it down on somebody and it will spread within the team. And SK will have to really commit for these kills. They have to dive deep. They only have one poke threat. Really, on Candy Panda, yes, Tam Kench pokes you a little bit, but just not quite enough.
Well, 5v5s are only good when it is 5v5. JWoww, wow, that chain of corruption is spreading well. Equalizer comes out just before JWoww's taken out. Dexter's in the back line, and with Fox out, can Froggen run amok? Svenska forced to flash defensively. Froggen follows suit. It's a 1 for 2. Tabs continues to hammer away. Look at that shield from the thick skin. Freddy is going to be able to sustain for days. And he's going to be able to peel backwards. It's a 4 versus 3. Froggen still has mana, so those piercing arrows help. Eat the scuttle crab, throw the scuttle crab. Dragon's being pulled away. There's a lot of Ren stacks on that already. Tabs actually pulled the trigger.
And Raider made the right decision there, engaging to a choke point. You don't want to let Elements get into the area, start poking out, so you have to focus it out. JWoww dropped very quickly, but still good ultimate from Froggen. It spread through the entire team, and then eventually the carries went down. I'm gonna check out later if we get the replay of what Tabs and Nif were doing exactly in that fight. It felt like they were very slow to get there, and I feel like Elements played that fight 3v5 for the majority of it. Still come out on top. 3rd Dragon for Elements. So watch it again. Keep your eyes on Tabs and Nif. They come from the right side, so they're not put up together. JWoww has a flash, and then Fox, he gets singled out. Okay, that's what they were doing in this fight. Have to deal with Fox, and obviously, good peel by Nif. Nif no longer has summoners or cooldowns available. He just goes for zoning. Just keep Candy Panda. Candy Panda is not doing any damage in this fight, so it looked like a mistake initially. She ended up being a good job by Tabs and Nif working together to take down Aurelia, which you have to do. You can't leave your carry exposed alone against an Aurelia. This is your main priority in fights. Peel her away. And then, obviously, in such chaos, Candy Panda had no clue what the cooldown on Pulverize was. So Nif just walked up, acted as if he had it, and then popped the ultimate. Good zoning by Nif at the end of the fight.
I was watching Freddy as well. He chunked out Dexter a lot. Unfortunately, because they lost his damage dealer, it simply didn't matter. So in the replay, Elements were able to secure their red buff, close a little bit of the gold lead, and they got the very important 3rd Dragon on track for Aspect, and very important, Elements pushed SK away. So despite SK's positioning and initiation, it's Elements that maintain control of the Dragon.
Remember, how did SK get ahead this game? It was by spreading out, putting pressure individually in every lane. They never really grouped. That's how they accrue these advantages, with Svenska hovering between the lanes and finding openings. SK's been playing a group style as of late, and Elements' composition obviously thrives in that environment. Win condition for Elements will definitely be the 5 Dragons, and unless SK can get deep wards, prevent Elements from setting up that play, make a pick when they're getting into position. Elements are right on track to do that in this game.
Elements going to continue to play the Dragon game. It took a long time yesterday before they eventually closed it out, but the team composition will be a little more conducive today. They're at a pink ward in the tri-bush and set up for the bottom of the tower. This is only the 2nd tower of the game. Abyssal Voyage for the first time brings Enrated to the party, and they watch the tower go down.
They watch the tower die, but they do it with style points. But if you look at the other side of the map, where is Gragas? Where is Aurelia? They're not putting any pressure anywhere else. And obviously, Elements will be happy to see that. They have decent vision control for JWoww in the top lane, so he can safely push this wave deeper than he could before. Dexter has to dodge, survive. That's what Elements have to do. Hang on whenever somebody's on the side lane. Listen to group and then poke them as they come to contest your vision. Organ has very good accuracy on that Varus.
That's for sure. Showing it now. Clearing out those minion waves. Froggens.
I mean, how are you going to get to the tower? Your Aurelia's melee range. Tam Kench is Tam Kench. And Corki obviously is still stuck on the bot lane. So very, very poor decision to keep grouping in that mid lane from SK Gaming.
Let's see if SK adapt. Fox with the Blade of the Rune King and Trinity Force is a terrifying threat who actually nobody can deal with on the side of Elements, but because of the rotation down bottom, might be able to get a good chunk down. Svenska's tanking up the tower, going to peel away. Now it's minion wave is cleared, and Raider will be the next target. There's a little bit of
found Fox though in the river. It's
movement from Element. Fox, or who has found who? Nif goes down Unbreakable Will. Freddy's going to get the tongue lash. First proc of that acquired taste. Nif will go down. He gets the pulverize off before getting dropped. Mine is going to follow through onto JWoww. So tower and a kill. SK are...
SK kept grouping up so much in random lanes that Elements was used to doing that, and suddenly they break the mold. They go for that rotation to the bot lane. Nobody's defending that. They use the Rumble ultimate. Yes, Nif died 500 times. Still not quite at my death total, so he still has a way to go. I don't want to play any LCS. Shame.
Sounds like you're cheating in that statistic.
Yeah, I'm just really good at dying. Right now, Baron is exposed. See if SK is even aware of this, because they see Froggen hovering around, but it seems to set their eyes on the mid lane tower. They forgot.
That there's a Kalista. That's a lot of stacks.
Well, that's good. Baron's going to go down, so let's see. SK figured out once they see those Baron empowered minions coming pushing back at them, and maybe it's too late. It's going to get a whiff of it now, but
far too late. Elements sneak the Baron at the cost of the last remaining outer turret. So despite being down in gold, as we're ticking 30 minutes, Elements now have the ability to defend against some of the side lane pressure.
Definitely. So Order can just group up and siege right now. The limited amount of wave clear from SK will no longer be enough. Elements can do what they like doing with this composition, which is straight up group. Fox will have to counteract that by just immediately start split pushing, but he doesn't seem comfortable doing so because he doesn't have the vision. Let's see if SK can prevent this push from Elements by not answering it in the same lane. They have to answer it in different lanes. Legit just start split pushing left and right when Elements go down the middle lane.
Luckily for SK, Banner of Command for Enrated will help a little in dealing with some of this side lane pressure, but Candy Panda cannot afford to get poked out. He's the primary wave clear for SK's squad, and Elements still playing from behind. Randuin's Omen picked up for Froggen. If there was ever a sign that he was worried about being dove.
I mean, he's comfortable with the amount of damage his team has. They're running a triple threat composition, so he's fine inspecting a defensive item. Random Winds obviously works very well. Only limited amounts of magic damage on the side of SK Gaming, and he's gonna have to deal just mostly with that Aurelia jumping him and Candy Panda following up with some auto attacks.
I think it's also good to highlight that Tabs picked up a fairly early QSS as well. Itemization in Elements is something we questioned a little yesterday, or at least Deficio was wondering where the Leandries was on that AP cog. Could it have made a difference? You can argue and debate until the sun comes up, but fairly smart in this matchup to help deal with the threats.
Now, how well can they close? They look like they're thwarting their push priority of the 4th dragon, so they're using that Baron buff to buy some time to get secure 4th dragon instead of going for a tower immediately. Look at the top wave though, that's big. That could be a follow-up objective for SK Gaming.
Dragon secured, uncontested. SK had vision, but little else. The 5v5s in favor of Elements. Remember, you've said it since picks and bans. Elements are using Baron relatively well. Top and bottom pushing against them though. Someone has to go deal with that.
Their bot wave should have bounced by now and should be pushing out. And due to the location that wave is in, even if you don't see the exact numbers of minions on your creep, on your minimap, it will push towards SK Gaming on the bot lane. However, top lane is pushing quicker, so they need to make this wave work.
A lot of damage on that inner turret, 50% done. Devour a minion, chuck it back at Elements, so you can see those little fishies. 2 stacks.
If Elements stay here, they're yielding their top tower, but that means they're going for an aggressive play, potentially a dive here on this tower.
I like to think the latter. Though, Elements is not the team that I think does that. So let's see if they can prove me wrong. Transcendent place or wave clear. Elements focusing the tower. They've got the Baron empowered minions and they brute force their way to tower number 4 and close the gold deficit to 1,000.
Top lane tower still is at 80% HP, so will definitely not go down in that single wave there. Secure and open up the map even more. Now the game will slow down. Baron buff will run out. Gold is still 1,000 ahead of SK Gaming, so we'll likely see a bit of a lull, a bit of a pause here until the next Baron or Dragon, which will spawn roughly in the same time frame, maybe a minute or so apart. So it'll definitely be an interesting exchange to see who prioritizes what. If Elements do the right thing with good shot calling, they can completely put SK in an impossible position where either they take the Baron and they give up 5th Dragon, or the other way around, you know, try and stop Elements from getting that 5th Dragon, and in process doing so, give up Baron buff.
Yeah, there's also the possibility to lose the game in that scenario, because yesterday Elements got to 4 dragons and then unfortunately didn't get the next.
All jokes aside, I'm really enjoying support building more Banner of Commands, because you can make a map-wide play from your base. You buff a cannon buff, you buff a cannon creep minion in the bot lane, for example, and you move top, and then you have side lane pressure, manipulating side waves. just makes shot calling so much easier, so much pressure you add up just by some single, buffed up cannon creep that you do. You can name them too. You so choose.
I like to do that. Either way. SK continue to group. SK continue to not look for deep vision. They're not unlocking Fox's power.
Now Fox has a lot of CDR. He picked up Frozen Heart because he's going to be diving on Frog and magic damage and tabs. He doesn't get stuck in the equalizer from JWoww, who gets aggressed on now.
That's an early hourglass. Tabs is down. Candypan and Fox just destroy it. Equalizer will buy some time. Freddy is going to eat Nif. Nif will throw down that Unbreakable Will as Froggen is shooting Piercing Arrow after Piercing Arrow. Chain of Corruption will hold some of the damage and Freddy eats Nif for a second time. That's a good piece of steak and the flank is out.
Yeah, Tabs hovering around his top laner JWoww trying to defend it, but then he realizes he's an AD carry against an Aurelia and a Nautilus. He just straight up dies. JWoww goes down in the process. Poor map move by Elements. They're good at grouping if they're all 5 together, but they can't go through these choke points in uneven numbers.
It's happening again, Crepo. 4 dragons Elements can get to. And then some positional errors cost them an inner turret. And once again, cost them the gold lead. Oh yeah, Abyssal Void as well.
Flash here from Unrated opening up. Dredgeline goes on taps. He is stuck. He should have moved towards his team on the bottom side. JWoww still going down. And Fox, if Fox gets left alone, well, we comically see Nif go down again. If Fox gets left alone against any of these 80-based champions, he will tear through them with Frozen Heart. Froggen or Kalista can really deal with him. So it's up to JWoww's magic damage to take him down. But JWoww hasn't been landing the greatest equalizers, and Elements really need to group and use the peel provided by their jungler and support together to really survive and get this triple threat composition rolling.
1 minute to Baron, 2 minutes to Dragon. Elements have had all of the previous. All Dragons and the single Baron that's been secured. But SK, with that last teamfight victory, have got some great vision into the jungle of Elements. So there are now tools available. Abyssal Voyage is up for Freddy. Teleport's up for Freddy.
Here we go. He's going behind Elements, it seems, pinged on the map.
Right in the middle. Nif is the man that's going to have to get eaten. Unbreakable comes up. No, it was Fate's call. Pulled backwards by Tabs. Nif is going to just punch Freddy away as Dexter's now looking for more. He's flashed into the team. JWoww's coming forward. The equalizer has already been used. JWoww's gone golden in Hourglass. Where is Tabs? He's trying to peel backwards. 15 seconds until Baron. SK win another team fight by pulling the trigger first.
Yeah, Elements are playing these fights without poking first, and SK has just gotten so tanky. Initially, Fox would die and go trade even, but because he now has enough base damage just from the true damage on his W, the Triforce obviously provide a lot of damage later with the Bork. He can now spec defensively. He got that Frozen Heart and Ninja Tabi, and outside of the magic damage, it's incredibly hard to kill him. We said it earlier. Now he can just wait. Instead of having to die first in the fights, SK is now tanky enough to survive this poke and just wait until somebody on Elements overextends, overconnects. Elements did not have to take that engage, remember. Dexter did not have to tunnel inwards and flash forward. JWoww did not have to walk forward, but they did. And it cost them the mistakes again.
And with every team fight, SK is just growing their lead. The Baron and Dragon timers are going to get synced up very, very soon. This aspect for Elements, so SK do not want to give that one away. They may be able to get in behind Elements. Abyssal Voyage is being channeled. Nif, once again, is going to be the focus. Dredgeline, that connects onto Tabs. Fate's Call is going to pull Nif backwards as JWoww is down. Freddy's running amok. Look at that grey health. That becomes a 2,000 hit point shield. Freddy's also got the face of the mountain. Going to spit out in rated. Dredgeline this time doesn't connect. JWoww's gone out, and we did see Nif go back in for the head run. Pulverize. 2 more members of Elements down.
And look at JWoww. You don't even need to see what happened in the fight. Teleport is down, Equalizer is not. He TP'd in, he immediately got blown up, and at the same time, Elements could not really get anything done. However, SK is forgetting about the 5th dragon here. Could have easily guarded that with 1 or 2 members and went for the Baron, but might be a very interesting late game here.
So this is an interesting question. We've often had inhibitor for Baron and the debates of which is better. But it's not super often you have Aspect or Baron.
The thing is, it's not an either-or equation for SK Gaming. They could have had 1 dragon plus map control versus trading a Baron for a dragon. They could have easily walked over to the dragon, put 2 deep wards, went over and secured the Baron area, and then played the map from then on. We've seen that now in these group fights, Elements no longer have the edge. SK have continuously found ways to open up the map. They just got a little, I guess, just excited that they won that fight and went for the Baron, but it may come to bite them depending on how well Elements can poke. See, getting that 2 damage over time will tear through the basic defensive stats. Yes, it's nice if you have 250 armor or something like that. 2 damage is not going to care and just tear right through it. So it does make this game very, very exciting right now at the 39-minute mark.
Pressure on Elements to make use of aspect of the Dragon. They're down in gold, they're down in kills, down in towers. But they do have tools.
Remember, not everybody did get aspect. Froggen, yeah. Nip does not have aspect, and then JWoww doesn't seem like he has it either.
That's important, actually.
That is very big, so Equalizer will not put on aspect on anybody else, so could have waited with that. Watch for Froggen and Tabs' damage in these fights.
Super important that Froggen lands those piercing arrows.
Just AoE. Froggen needs to hit everybody once. Ideally. Yeah,
just do it. Just go.
Hit
Come
everybody.
on. 5 champions. I mean, he did it yesterday, multiple times. But I think it's a little easier on Kog'Maw.
We don't talk about the Kog'Maw anymore.
We do not. On the mini-map, you can see that banner of command minion.
This is why I like
another
it.
siege. Look at the pressure.
It's not like Invaded walked over there and buffed that minion. No, no, no. He buffed that when it was in his base, and he now set up a play that 40 seconds later manifests itself in the bot lane and now puts a time pressure on Elements. A normal slow pushing wave will bounce back from your tower. Yes, you might lose half a tower. That Baron buff creep just will push on through. And in addition, you get the gold. Every minion that cannon kills, you also get the gold from. So, money in the bank.
Baron Empowered Minion's going to try to defend against this very, very large minion wave up top. Elements have met it in full force. Nif is not with the team at the moment. Does actually stop moving down, but look, Elements don't fully commit to the tower,
because
and
they're so afraid to even get into tower range because of this hard engage. You have the dredge line that's charged from, and Rated coming out. You have Fox being able to dive in. Freddy can teleport behind you technically with Tom Kench.
Inhibitor turret's gonna go down. I mean, that's...
We did lose the Baron buff creep, or the Banter of Command buff creeps, but Elements obviously not achieving anything in this top lane, so they just traded.
Tower, I think it should be defended.
We're going to see an equalizer.
JWoww's going to get in range, I believe. So, 41 minutes has gone by. Elements, despite the control they had earlier, have lost multiple team fights. Elements are fighting for a playoff hope. SK cannot improve their seed. SK cannot improve their position in the standings. They are 9th in Summer Split. But for Elements, they could tie with Giants. They could get into playoffs if they can pull out a win. If not, they will be tied with Gambit at that 7 and 11 rank.
Another Banner of Command buff minion here. And this is the problem for Elements. When you are ahead, itemizing defensively after you're ahead is fine because you still have enough raw damage to make that item, you know, worth itself use. You defend yourself and you have more damage than the enemy. But if you then screw up the next 2 fights, you lack damage that you would have had if you spec defensively. So you kind of give yourself a hole. Froggen, obviously, imagine if he had another offensive item at his disposal instead of that early Wandu. Instead, he would have had more poke in contesting these areas. But he had sufficient damage at the time, just because as a team, Elements failed to capitalize on that. He now fell behind a little bit. Same for Tabs and a QSS.
Baron has timed out. Aspect has as well. Timing is correct. Pistol Voyage is going to come in to the middle of Elements. Dexter's going to get a knock-up, and Nip once again will get eaten. Fate's Call actually will save him, so I retract the statement. Nip decides to go back in. Flash is available. Could get eaten once more. There goes the mine. It will connect. A stun. We see Freddy looking for more defensive flash from Nif. He's nommed Fox. That's going to keep Fox alive. The poke wars continue. Elements not losing a member this time for the first time in 3 team fights.
I almost feel like Nif wants to use that knock-up from the Fate's Call. Had to flash out defensively. Imagine if he could save that flash. Get a flank off later in the fights when SK is sieging. Just because Fate's Call gets used does not mean you have to use it offensively. Scare now setting up for the TF2 tower in the top lane. He's gonna take it down. Modern day version of Lee Syndrome.
Nif goes in offensively, doesn't have flash this time. Chain of Corruption is spreading. Nif is looking to get damage down, but he's hopped away from his team. That's 2 kills for SK. Dexter may go down as well. He's gonna flash over the wall. Tongue Lash does not get a stun. SK still have a banner of Command Empowered Minion. Candy Panda was able to chase down Dexter, and he should come back to his teammates. SK on the verge of cracking open Elements base. 10,000 gold lead thanks to so many 1-team fights. They're gonna get an inhibitor as well. They may not stop.
They could definitely look to close this game if they can get to Frog and so many offensive tools. Just one dredge line One dash from Fox. Equalizer comes out again. That's a cooldown. Minions are gone. They're tanking towers. They'll have to yield.
Defensively, Chain of Corruption is going to catch. Piercing Arrow comes up, and look at how tanky Freddy is. Devours Candy Panda to get out alive. So Elements minions did get a tower down bottom, but wow, are Elements coming apart at the seams when it comes to team fights.
Even if Elements lose this, they technically still have a shot at playoffs, I believe, but what worries me is their play right now. They're so uncoordinated. They're still not getting on the same page. Nif went in with that face call. Now Nif went in again without Unbreakable. They started a fight. They would inevitably lose. Instead of just defending their next or their base inhibitor towers, now they're bringing up all the pressure for Aspect. They did keep SK busy, so they have to rush down this dragon.
They should be able to get this one.
Get the hell out of there. Candy Panda can steal though.
Come over Candy Panda. He steals it! The first dragon of the game! Candy Panda's given SK one more tool. Enrated's going to throw out the mine. Froggen is going to cleanse. At least get rid of some of the slow once more. Nif goes down. Unlucky number 7. And Elements have to defend one man down.
They go for the play, but they don't save some damage to finish it off at the end. So you had no idea of where Corki was on the map. This is fundamental for the late game for SK Gaming. They have full control of the map. They have a top lane inhibitor down. They deny Aspect. Baron is about to come up. One more second and it's live. Full control 2 Elements is very scared to face check. Their support is still down. They're playing this map 4v5 and then rated. Once the depth charge comes available, he can just press R for the hard engage.
That's something SK have done multiple times. A third frozen heart. Mallet picked up for Fox as well. So much hit points. There's no ways Elements can get close enough to contest. And the Baron is secured now for SK. They're second of the game. By JWoww, Hourglass is available. Doesn't even get used. No assist from anybody else. JWoww and Nif have not been on their game. And sadly, that has been the problem for Elements for several weeks now.
12 out of the 17 deaths come from the top lane and the support for this Elements lineup. And had a very good early to mid game, especially when they group, but eventually SK Gaming got too tanky to deal with it. Those frozen hearts are just making so much work.
Righteous Glory comes out for Enrated. He's zoning Elements away. They do not have their top lane, and this is 5-on-4.
Could be the final push.
In a best case scenario, Banner and Baron empowered minions. Another tower will fall. SK Gaming are looking to crush Elements' hopes.
Tom Kench, 100% win rate on the cusp of it. Told you before, this champion is the best top laner in the game.
Elements defending for their lives. 10 seconds before JWoww is up. He should have the equalizer available, but there are super minions to deal with. Froggen goes all the way forward. Throws out that hail of arrows. Piercing Arrow trying to clear out minions. Fox and Candy, they're on the bottom Nexus turret. Fox does get caught out. That's a good equalizer this time. Burning through SK, but it might be too late. The SK are simply too tanky. Sven is getting caught out by those auto attacks from Tabs. Rend is available. Will he be able to get a kill? He does, but they've traded 2 for 2. Junglers and supports down. We see Freddy on Tom Kench. Noms Froggen trying to run away. An acquired taste will not be enough. Tabs rent him for the kill. 3 for 3. JWoww is alive. Candy and Fox go back in. They get Tabs. JWoww goes down to Candy Panda. Candy Panda and SK Gaming will give Elements their 11th loss of the summer split. And for Elements to make playoffs, they have to hope for a 3-way tie and hope for Roccat to lose.
Remember, SK picking up this game does put Elements in that position you just described. Elements obviously are ahead 2-0 against Gambit and Roccat. That 3-way tie could be won by them and then put the remaining members in a 2-way tie. They will definitely be watching that Roccat match later on, which is next. And then the last match of the day will be Unicorns of Love against Fnatic. But this SK lineup, last game of the season. I mean, Freddy came out in an interview just straight up said this is the end of this SK lineup. It will not happen anymore, so it must feel good for them to end the split somewhat on a victory. Get that last walk with your teammates, because you still spent the last 6 months with them in the same house, in the same training environment. It may have not worked out, but having this victory right here must feel good.
I want to expand on that. SK Gaming placed 2nd in spring 2014, placed 3rd in summer 2014. They went to Worlds. 4th in spring 2015, 1 position down every split until now. where it's come apart at the seams. SK smiles on their faces. They ended strong, but even so, it is a promotion tournament that they are destined for. They have to re-qualify for the LCS for 2016.
This man right here, when he's in his comfort zone and he can make the plays that he can do so well, Deficio described it as Svensson is one of those few junglers in Europe that can carry a game on himself. He did it definitely so in the early game today. Some beautiful explosive casts. I still remember that one on Tier 1 mid tower where he finished off Nif. Not sure if it was intentional, I'll have to ask him later. But he knocked back Dexter and he just got 2 kills with 1 ultimate. A fantastic play right there, and he definitely carried the early game for SK Gaming. And eventually, surprisingly so, they did get very tanky because it's so hard for Rumble to put out continuous damage before those fights. And then eventually, if the equalizer doesn't connect and lock people down, it's not enough damage. Frozen Hearts were definitely good purchases this game.
It doesn't help when JWoww's equalizers are not hitting multiple times as well. I just want to mention really fast, with SK picking up that victory, maximum number of tiebreakers at the end of today will be 1 game. 1 game. We were down from 11 possibilities yesterday, down to 6 possible today. It is now only 1. So
you see the collective smile of the production crew behind the cameras.
We are all sad, unfortunately, because tiebreakers are something that we do particularly enjoy. But Roccat still looking to try and make their way into the playoffs. Head-to-heads are going to determine some of these tiebreakers. We will break them down once we get a little later into the broadcast. But for Elements, it is another disappointing split.
Yep. Same story. Different members every time, honestly. Just doesn't quite connect every time. There's so much hope, so much potential, so many dreams that eventually get crushed. And then at the end, they get so close. Last split as well, there was the race for, do we get 6th place? We really want 7th place. Please let it be 7th place. Hell no, we don't want 8th place. Because the difference between having to play to stay in the LCS or just getting the time to build up another roster or potentially getting that, Hail Mary into playoffs, it's so different mindset-wise. So at least they should be happy that they likely just end up in the 7th place. But is there still a possibility for them to end up? I don't think there is, actually. I don't think they can actually end up in the promotion tournament.
Because of head-to-heads.
Because of head-to-heads. So that's good for Elements in that regard.
Elements have a very good head-to-head record against the teams that are directly around them. But what it also means is Gambit maybe going down to the promotion tournament, maybe going 7th. Roccat in a similar position. I need to verify the head-to-head records. But those are the teams that are now vying for those 6th, 7th, 8th positions, because Giants are looking pretty comfortable in 5th. At that 8 and 10, they're looking safer with Elements losing. Well, anyways, we'll break that down just a little bit later. We're going to head over to the analyst desk to chat about SK's victory.
Thank you so much, Quick Shot, as we are joined here by both Candy Panda and Freddy. I was trying to put those two together. Congratulations, guys. I know it must be bittersweet. I do want to talk about the game a little bit to start with, because Candy Panda, I mean, it seems like it was a different Candy Panda we saw here today. You were going for everything you could. Talk me through the mentality.
Well, it's not so much a different mentality. It was just, I played a lot more solo queue this week. I played, let's just say we didn't scrim this week. So we had, a lot more time to play solo queue. And that way I could, invest a lot more time in improving for myself. So I think that's why I played much better today.
Paid off in this instance, and certainly there was a lot of solo queue going on for you, Freddy. I know you turned Tam Kench into Spam Kench this weekend with the amount of games you played. Talk us through, you're the only person really to be playing Tam Kench. Why are you playing him and nobody else is?
I mean, I saw Darian playing him a lot in solo queue, so decided to try him out, and I saw a lot of potential in him, especially the ult damage is quite a lot, and people don't realize. Especially in this poke meta, you can always just ult behind people, engage like that, and you're so tanky that you won't actually die. So I see a lot of potential in him. We certainly saw a lot of potential in the game for Tam Kench as well, and we want to take a look at a replay, actually. This was ultimately the first kill you'd get in the game, Freddy, is you were tanking up a lot of damage in this team fight. Maybe you can walk us through a little bit of what Tam Kench can do in these fights, and what your thought processes are going into this fight. Yeah, I mean, they're setting up for a dragon here, and we go in here. I don't know if we should have gone in here, but yeah. And then you see me ult in there. I got the kill. And the good thing is I can always eat someone who's low health here. So, I mean, I didn't, but the potential's there. I could have maybe saved Sven there, but I just think he's a really good champion. He offers a lot, so. Certainly seems to. Candy Panda as an AD carry must be nice, just in case. Yeah. It didn't really happen this game, but must be nice.
He saved me once, actually. So.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, in the top lane, so it was. It's really good to have a safeguard.
Have you seen it much as support?
Sorry?
Have you seen it much as support?
I played against him once. Actually, I didn't even know what his abilities do, to be honest. I just know he can eat people and teleport.
Do you know now?
Yeah, no, kind of, yeah.
We kind of know what happened. Stepping away from the game, though, because Freddy, we obviously heard, your little video a bit before this game, how you talked about your future and the future of the team. Candy Panda, you said that you guys haven't been scrimming this week. So you, as such an old school player and a lot of history with SK Gaming, can you give us a little bit of insight in the situation?
We don't know. I think we will play a relegation. We might swap one player because, and Raider might want to leave because he feels like he's burned out and he wants to stop. So, other than that, I think we will play relegation with the same roster. So, and then after, we will see what happens. We don't know yet.
Okay, Freddy was saying how you definitely don't want to stop playing in either case. What then happens? Is that the same for you?
I don't want to stop playing either.
Okay.
After today, I know that I can still play good. It's just about having good team, and then you can really push and motivate yourself to play a lot, and then I can still do good. So can Freddy.
All right. Yeah, well, definitely showed it here today with bringing that Tom Kench onto the scene. So congratulations on that. And, well, best of luck to you guys in relegation after. Before we let you go, though, we are going to take a look at the standings because with that loss that Gambit suffered in the last game, that means they are now out of playoffs officially. But as you can see, their Elements, they need Roccat to lose in the next game to force the 7 and 11 tiebreaker. And Elements own the head-to-head, and then they will automatically take the last playoff spot. So for Elements, even with this loss, it is not all lost yet for them, but honestly, it would have been better if they won. But you guys did your best to stop them from doing that. Congratulations.
Yeah, thanks.
All right, we need to take a break, but when we return, Origin will go up against Roccat as they try and stay in that playoff race. But before we go, let's touch base with Pulse, who caught up with Rockat's Yamato Cannon earlier to talk about the matchup.
Thank you very much. I'm joined here with Yamato Cannon to talk about his game and how he thinks it's going to go ahead of his game later today. Now, Yamato, I kind of first want to talk about tiebreakers and those type of scenarios because you're locked in with 4 other teams right now, or 3 other teams rather. Who would you want to face? Who do you not want to face? What are your opinions overall?
I think in Rockat's situation, we're the type of team that if we do well, we do really well, but what we're really lacking is the consistency. So to me, with the teams that we're tied with, it doesn't really matter who we face. I think it's a question if we shoot ourselves in the foot or not.
Okay. All right, so now looking towards playoffs as well, what are your hopes for playoffs? What are you looking for? And also in that different type of scenario where you have the best of 5, how is Roccat going to fare?
I think in a best of 5, as I mentioned before, our consistency is what is the issue. And with that in mind, I feel in a best of 5, we can easily adapt and fix what we did in the first game. And as the best of 5 progresses, we will do better and better. So I think in a best of 5 scenario, we should do better. But I'm the type of person that doesn't look too much in the future, not too much in the past. I like to take everything step by step. And I teach my players the same philosophy. So right now, the main focus is the Origin game.
Okay, so not looking too far ahead. I like it a lot. So looking at Origin, what do you think their strengths and weaknesses are? Do you think there's anything you can exploit in this game? Of course, you don't have to give too much away.
I feel that some of the players have very predictable champion pools. And with that in mind, it's very easy to predict kind of what they're going to pick in Champion Select based off of their previous games. I feel like their main weakness should be Xpec's champion pool. I think is very exploitable. You just have to make sure to not let them play their game because their macro style is very good.
Well, very interesting. Best of luck later today, Yamato. Before we get to the coverage of that game, we're going to shoot it to a quick break.
Look at him go. Get that Tam Ken's booty.
Will stop SK from aggressing the barrel!
Looks like Dexter too.
Dexter's now in trouble. Equalizer comes out just before JWow's taken out. Dexter's in the back line and with Fox out, can Froggen run amok? Candy Pandas heals it! The first dragon of the game! Candy Pandas given SK one more tool.
Can we kill him? It's 2v2. Can you go? Can you go?
Oh, get him!
Nice.
Get him!
Yes.
Oh my God. Don't fight the tower.
SK Gaming will give Elements their 11th loss of the summer split.